Hello friend and welcome to a new video. Today I prepare for you a very on point tutorial. We are in October, so we will be painting autumn leaves. And this is what you will learn how to paint today. You see I already framed it with some passepartout, but yeah, this is a very fun exercise. It's also quite relaxing because it's long, it's calm. I think it's everything you need for a cozy fall painting session. So yes, I hope you enjoy it very much and let's go for it. So you will need watercolor 100% cotton paper, your watercolors and some brushes and a pencil. So here I'm using cotton paper because we will use a lot of water and cotton paper handles water better than cellulose paper does. Before we start painting, we need to prepare our template. So we will make a drawing of a tree leaf. I chose the Japanese maple leaf and I found a Google image just to draw it. Now that I'm happy with the shape of the leaf, I will cut it out. Don't worry, it doesn't need to be perfect at all. Leaves are organic things, which means they are irregular, they are not perfect. So this is great because you don't need to put a lot of attention to this part. Just you can use a template like this one or take a leaf from the forest if you go for a walk. And ta-da! Now we will take this template and we will outline the shape on our paper with a pencil. Make sure to have different silhouettes. This means you can vary a bit the shape of the template and you can also flip it horizontally or vertically and rotate it around so you have something like what you see on the screen. If some leaves overlap, that's better because we'll create a lot of depth with overlapping leaves. And also make sure you erase the lines that are overlapped by other leaves because at the end you need to really see these lines to paint what we are going to paint today. So yeah, find different ways you can place this template to draw some leaf composition like the one you see in the video. Once you have covered the whole page, I will make my lines lighter. I'm using a kneaded eraser, which is mainly an eraser that looks like Play-Doh, but that will remove lines very softly without damaging the paper. You can use a regular eraser. Even if you erase them a little bit, make sure you can still see them. So they should be there, but they should just be lighter. We will need to paint around the shape, so it's really important that you see them. The watercolor technique we will use today is called negative painting. In this watercolor technique, we will apply 4, 5, 6 layers of paint on our paper, and that's why it's important that before you start a new layer, you mix enough paint to use in that layer. So because this is an autumn painting, I chose reds, oranges and yellows, and that's what you will see me mixing on my palette right now. Just a tip, to make your reds and your oranges more organic, more like you can see it in the forest, make sure to mix a little bit of green paint in that color. The first layer we will paint will be the lightest one, and we will start with a technique we already learned in April, which is called wet on wet technique. For that, you know that we need to pre-wet our paper just with plain clean water, as I'm doing right now in the video. So make sure your paper is damp. We should not have any pools of water on top of the paper, but it should be damp. Why? Because when we will apply our watercolors, this will help us to spread the colors in a more organic way, and also the colors will appear lighter, which is exactly what we want now. Once I'm ready, I will start taking the color from the mix or also from the palette. Here I'm using first an orange tone, but so make random brush strokes on the page and see how the water and the paint dance on the page. You will see that it will start spreading, that you don't have any control over it, or not a lot of control at least, and that's beautiful. That's the beauty of watercolors. Make sure you cover the entire page, but also make sure that your colors are not very dark yet, because with each layer we will make it darker and darker, so we can choose and show which leaves are on top of which ones, and also how the depth continues building throughout the painting. So yes, continue fulfilling the page with beautiful colors, and see you when we finish this. Also, you will see that I'm mixing some of the colors on the page, and that's completely fine. That's what we want to do in this first layer. So don't be afraid of mixing the colors directly on the page. If you feel the paper is starting to dry, don't touch it anymore and let it dry. Now that the paper is completely dry, I'm checking the dryness with my hands, touching it. You see the colors have faded away. That's completely normal. The watercolor paper has absorbed the pigment we have used in the layer before. This can take some time to completely dry. If you want to make it faster, you can use a hair dryer with cold air. Or if it's hot air, please don't put it very close to the page. For this second layer, is more important than before that you prepare quite some paint, more paint than what you think, on your palette. Now, because the paper is dry and we are using wet paint over it, we will be using the technique wet on dry. We also saw this in the introduction beginner videos of April, if you want to check them out. So the first thing I do is I start outlining one of the leaves with my brush and with a bit of paint. It doesn't matter which color. And I make sure that from that outline, I keep adding paint around the leaf. Now I will add more paint around other leaves. So mainly here, the goal of this layer is that you choose 3, 4, 5 leaves that you will have in this first layer. So if you have any mistake on any layer, don't worry, just paint over it. It's okay to have less leaves on the first page. This is really up to you. I think I chose 4 or 5 leaves. You will see it at the end of this layer. But the important thing is that you see the lines, so you can paint around the lines of a few leaves. As you can see, I'm adding the 3 colors I was adding on the first layer: red, yellow, and orange. They are more intense because we are painting wet on dry. That's why the colors are not that light. But anyway, they will get a bit lighter when this layer dries. But there is no need to go super dark here yet. Just use the same colors you used before, but on a second layer. Once we have finished outlining our selected leaves of this second layer, we paint the veins of the leaves, because that will tell our brain that these leaves are finished and we don't need to do them any more paint. We don't need to add anything else. So this is just to help ourselves. Now, making sure the paint is dry over the layers, we can start the third one. And I thought the vein part was a good idea. So what I'm doing is I'm outlining the veins of the layers. I will outline in this third layer. So this is telling my brain, hey, don't paint over these leaves, because these are the next leaves we will outline. And with this same method that we used in the layer before, I'm doing the layer now. I'm adding the same colors, red, orange, and yellow. I'm outlining not only the new leaves, but also the leaves from the previous layer. That's very important. And you see that I'm adding colors around the same way I did in the first layer. Now, if you see that some of the colors you add don't make the leaf you are painting around to pop, then that means you need to go a bit darker. Okay, don't go very, very dark, but instead of this red we were using before, maybe you need to add a bit of purple to it or a bit of dark, so we make it a bit darker. And that's how the next layer makes the leaves really pop. And when this layer is dry, with the exact same technique, I continue to the next layer. Here I'm using more of a darker red. It's like a burgundy color, Bordeaux color. You can add some brown to your reds or some dark paint, for example, a black paint, just a little bit, so we can make these leaves pop on the page. Just as a reminder, you don't paint over these new leaves, but also you don't paint over the leaves of the previous layers. You now need to outline so many things, but also it gets easier because each time you need to paint less surface as you have more leaves to leave out. The process goes in the same way, and then I will let you enjoy this process and come back at the end. Once you finish the painting, I recommend you to take a step back and look if you want to add any more leaf, like what I'm doing here. I saw a place where there is a big gap, and then I will take my template again and I will outline again a new leaf, and I will make a darker background around it. Additionally, if I see there is not enough contrast around one of the leaves, I will add darker paint around it. for one of the most satisfying parts, which is to remove the washi tape around it. What do you think of the result? I really love it. This exercise is very fun and very relaxing, very meditating like. So I really hope you enjoy it as much as I did. So that was all I wanted to tell you and show you today. This is how it looks like once you frame it. You can decide to frame it differently or not frame it at all. And I wanted to show you that this is an exercise I started to do very early when I started painting. For example, this is from 2020 and you see I also frame it and I use different colors. I used like greens, yellows and browns at the end, and then you can see these lines I added later. I added them with color pencils, and I want to show you another one, which is this one. This one I also made it around 2 or 3 years ago. So you see, you can have different tree leaves. These are oak leaves, while these are Japanese maple. You see, there is a lot of variety you can do, and you can also do it for flowers and any other element you want. I wanted to show you the leaves because yeah, autumn is very, I don't know, inspiring with the crunchy leaves on the floor, at least for me. And only so you can see what you can do with this. You can then scan this and turn them into little pencil cases, or you can turn them into greeting cards. So if this is something that you would like to see, I can also make a video about it. If you have any questions, no matter how small, really there is no stupid question. Ask everything you want. Just write me here or send me a direct message and I will reply to you as soon as I can. Okay, I hope you enjoyed very much. Thank you very much for your time and see you in the next video. Bye!